Welcome to TMZ Live. What I have been saying for months now, for longer than months, I think is going to actually come true. That Donald Trump is not going to leave office. At least I don't think that's his intention when his term expires.
Well, his good pal, Steve Bannon, is certainly making people like yourself believe that. Whether or not this is real, that's what you got to figure out here. Steve sat down with The Economist, and that issue of a third term came up. Listen to not only what he says, but how he says it. Then we're going to get into whether or not this is a real issue.
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28.
You've said that President Trump needs another term, even though the 22nd Amendment makes pretty clear that he cannot have another term.
Why does it make that clear?
Because he's on his second term already.
At some point in time, we will make sure we go through Zanny and define all those terms. The only way President Trump wins in 2028 and continues to stay in office is by the will of the American people. Okay? And the will of the American people is what the Constitution embodies. And so I think we're going to be in good hands there. We need to finish what we started. And President Trump is the instrument, a providential instrument to finish that.
Okay, so there are two levels to this. One is Steve Bannon talking out of his ass, or is he talking based on knowledge? And I think it's the latter. One thing I know things.
Could it not be both?
Well, it could, but let me tell you what I know. That Donald Trump gets on the phone and talks to certain people, not politicians, but certain people regularly, sometimes every night.
Sure.
And I think Steve Bannon has his ear, and I think he's one of the people that Donald Trump talks to. That's number one. Number two, Donald Trump himself has talked about how he admired something that Vladimir Zelensky told him, that they suspended their election because of a war. And he thought that's interesting. So what if, for example, Donald Trump says, we have a war going on domestically, and we, with immigration or crime, and declares martial law and says we can't have the election. I'm not saying it would even necessarily work, but I'm saying I would not disbelieve him trying that.
The part you are leaving out is that this administration is all about, and they prove it every single day on social media and in the media, that they're about trolling. They're all about a troll. And I have always believed that this whole third term thing is just a troll. However, I will grant you that this time, when Bannon said it's the will of the American people, and if it's the will of the American people, then he'll get it.
Right.
Now, I don't believe it is the will of the American people, and I don't believe it will be. Even the majority of people who voted for Trump will not crap all over the Constitution and just say, nope, we want him to have a third term, and it's going to be that way.
You're kidding me.
So that's why I think it's a troll.
So do they care about going to universities and saying, if you don't play by our rules?
They don't see that as that is not.
So that's not, the First Amendment
because
doesn't
that's
count.
not the Constitution.
No.
That's the First Amendment. What do you
Because there's an argument about what they'll say. that's disputable whether that's
It's
First
not.
Amendment.
Right. That's not about free speech. That's about threatening students.
I mean, the 22nd Amendment is very clear.
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
But that's the debate.
DEI is threatening students?
No, I'm talking about the safety of students. I'm talking about the.
I'm
talking about the anti-Semitism.
He has told multiple universities, if you don't get rid of DEI, you're not going to get funding.
DEI should be illegal. In that you should not. We don't hire based on people's skin or sex. But that's not even bizarre, right?
Because that's my whole point is that issue.
Right.
They'll say you can debate.
Steve
The 22nd
Bannon is
Amendment
not
is pretty
part of-
clear. There's no debating it, right?
No. Here's the reality.
You're
Steve Bannon is not part of
naive.
Steve Bannon is not part of the administration. I grant you that he probably has Donald Trump's ear, but he's not part of the administration. This is a giant troll job. I could not agree more with that part of what you said, Charles. He knows this drives people crazy. Look what it does to you. You are about to you're about to combust at your desk when this happens.
By the way,
and he knows that.
No, I'm about to make a bet with somebody outside this building.
Are you going to do it? Because you have a potential to win.
No.
Okay, we're not talking about the amount. We're not talking about the amount.
I'm going to make the bet.
Okay,
but it is
here's
a
what I'll say too.
amount.
When Donald Trump thought his election was stolen from him, he walked out of that White House front door on January 20th, 2021. He walked out
after a riot. After the insurrection.
Okay, we can go back and if you want to debate that, we can debate.
There's no debate.
What Donald Trump said or did.
I'll
show you videos where he said, "Hey, don't do this," but he walked out of the front door. Bottom line.
Yes, after he tried everything he could to change the results of the election.
When his term was over, he didn't stay for a single second
the difference
more.
is
that's my point.
The difference is if it happened today, and it's not happening today, but if it happened today, he has Congress
and the military.
Yeah. So who knows if he's going to have?
He's got the military on the streets.
I don't agree he's got the military.
He's got the
also going to be 84 years
streets.
old. He's so old.
He may not have Congress when this comes
so
around.
Old.
So
you know what? Credit to him. He's old, but this guy keeps on ticking.
No, I know he
gets
does.
Little sleep.
At a certain point, though, he's going to be almost 85 years old at that point.
Oliver Wendell Holmes was 91.
Do you?
He was.
Okay. Do you think? I don't know if that's to do with anything. Do you think that the midterm elections would have an effect on this, or does it not matter?
I don't think it matters. That ballroom ain't just the people's ballroom.
Claudio, Fort Worth. So I do think it's a troll and a distraction. I mean, it's outrageous, illegal, unconstitutional, and frankly, delusional. But hey, if they really want to test this, Democrats should absolutely run Obama in 2028 so he can destroy Epstein's BFF.
Do you think if Obama ran against Trump in 2028, if it were a legal thing to do, who would win?
Obama. Easy.
You think?
It's a much different world now. I don't know. I couldn't call it. Kim Kardashian has a big announcement about the bar exam.
By the way, results come in 2 weeks.
She has passed it. Or at least she is very confident that she passed it, and announced this during an interview she was doing with Graham Norton on his show over on the BBC. And this is what she told him. I mean, talk about trying to speak it into existence. She said, "I will be qualified in 2 weeks. I hope to practice law. Maybe in 10 years, I think I'll give up being Kim K and be a trial lawyer. That's what I really want." So she doesn't get the results until the first week in November.
Saying, but I really want to direct.
Yeah.
I mean,
she gets the results some point in the first week of November, right?
Yeah, she gets it November 3rd. So let me tell you the problem with this, is that you don't know if you pass the bar exam. I hope she passes, but I got to tell you, when you walk out of that, you don't have confidence you passed. In fact, I was the opposite.
This really is her trying to. You don't think that she was actually that confident when she walked out?
Nobody is.
I mean, every test you take, you have a feeling.
My feeling was.
And sometimes your feeling's off.
I absolutely believed I flunked.
But that's your dread and anxiety that was talking.
No, it wasn't. No,
and she's trying to manifest this into reality.
You are sort of a the sky is falling guy, so that's your.
I did not disguise anything. I was panicked.
But it also has to do with how well or poorly everybody else did, right?
Yeah, I just didn't realize what dumbasses everybody else was.
See, exactly. You're right. 50%. That's what you misunderstood.
You don't have any feeling that she's encroaching on our turf, not you, Charles, but our turf. We devoted a large portion of our life to the pursuit of academic excellence. I sacrificed everything to go through school. She's treated it like a vocation.
I really that birds fertilize their eggs. Never mind.
I really do feel this way. This Kim Kardashian devoted her life to something, but it certainly wasn't the pursuit of academic excellence. She didn't even go to college.
We are going to.
She's not a college graduate.
We're going to get real for a second, and I'm sorry for doing this to you, but you just fired the first salvo.
Yep.
Kim Kardashian has a better everything than Derek, except for one thing.
She doesn't have some degree hanging on her wall.
He's a lawyer, and he cannot psychologically handle the notion that she could legitimately bypass college and law school and pass an exam that he thinks is the marker of lawyer success.
Because then
and if
she
she
will have
does, you're right. Then he has nothing.
I mean,
you think
actually,
the
think
edit-
about it. Think about this, Derek. It could have happened already.
It could already be a result that exists and
already-
is just unknown at this
Right.
time.
No,
You're right.
it is.
But
Yeah.
the edit. No,
It is.
she says she's qualified.
No, it's a result right now.
There is a result, but it could be a very negative result. She's assuming it's positive.
Derek,
and yes,
Derek,
the edifice of my identity
Derek,
is shaken
Derek,
by this.
what are you
Dear God,
hoping
I've
for?
never wanted
What are you
anything
hoping
more.
for?
Please.
I want to
let
see. I think
Kim
she'll become a
Kardashian
better lawyer if she sort of
pass the
struggles a
ball.
little bit
Derek,
more.
what are you hoping for?
I'm hoping she goes down in flames. This is my turf. And I don't come out in bikinis and I look
Thank
like
you.
this and I'm a
Thank
gross middle-aged man and she's 45 and looks like a goddess. Okay? That's not what a lawyer looks like. And we need to accept that this is not the way of nature.
so
It's
sad.
against the natural order what she's doing.
This is so sad.
Hi everyone, it's Nana Minx from New York, and I just want to comment on Kim. One thing about Kim is that if you had told me a few years ago that she's gonna have a multi-mega million empire and become a lawyer, I would have said you were lying. But one thing that Kim has proved to us is that you can do it all. She has proved her haters wrong. She's doing it, passing or not. She's doing the damn thing. So we should give Kim kudos for even trying to take this bar exam and trying to pass.
Coming up.
Well, as the NBA is reeling from the gambling scandal, you'd expect to hear all of the sports talking heads sounding off about this. Now it has turned into a war of words between Stephen A. and members of the Trump administration.
That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history.
Be right back.
The TMZ Celebrity Tour located at the Hard Rock Cafe in Hollywood is available to charter for any occasion. And chances are pretty dang good you're gonna spot a celeb, right, reality superstar Josh Altman?
This was fantastic.
So head to tmztour.com/charters to get the ball rolling on your customized TMZ Celebrity Tour now.
Well, as the NBA is reeling from the gambling scandal that exploded yesterday with the arrests of Portland head coach Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier and former player Damon Jones, you'd expect to hear all of the sports talking heads sounding off about this. And of course, the leading sports talking head,
Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith. What you would not expect is that it got political. And I know Stephen A., we've talked about whether or not he's going to run for office.
Going to run for office.
As you put it, he's definitely going to run for office, in your words. But yes, his slant on this definitely got political, and now it has turned into a war of words between Stephen A. and members of the Trump administration. But first, here is his take, then we'll tell you how the administration is firing back.
How many times, for one incident after another, have I said Trump is coming? Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Because when you've got all of these protests that have been going out there and people that have been protesting against him and what have you, this man is coming. I'm watching a press conference with the director of the FBI. Tell me when we've seen that. We've seen people, we've seen accusations before. We've seen athletes get in trouble with the law before. You don't see the director of the FBI having a press conference. It's not coincidental. It's not an accident. It's a statement. And it's a warning that more is coming.
So essentially, he does not distinguish between James Comey, Letitia James, and these
Chauncey
arrests.
Billups. Yep.
Absolutely. He's saying it's the same. Kash Patel decided to respond to him. And I think the fact that he responded the way he did says
a few
the
things he
Trump
said.
administration sees Stephen A. Smith as a presidential opponent.
This was so wild. Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, suggested that this was revenge from the president for all the kind of left-wing activism of the NBA. Your response to that, 15 seconds.
I'm the FBI director. I decide which arrests to conduct and which not to conduct. That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C. It's right up there with Adam Schiff. We arrest people for crimes.
Wow. The Adam Schiff jab there, that one was a shout out to President Trump, right? That's like, hey, boss, I mentioned Adam Schiff, right?
Whom, by the way, is next on the president's list.
Right.
So the idea that, Donald Trump keeps saying he doesn't have anything to do with Comey and Letitia James, but you buying that? You buying what he's selling?
Nobody in
there?
America is buying that. Nobody.
Stephen A. Smith is running. I mean, he is running.
Certainly made it sound like it. Now, is it outrageous to think that? I just don't know that there's anything. It's not outrageous.
Why?
It's not
What's the
outrageous.
beef?
It's not outrageous to think that the president would go after someone. I just don't know what the NBA.
I don't think he's
in
got
particular
beef with the NBA.
and certainly the WNBA.
Expediting the arrest of Miami Heat's backup point guard really sticks it to the NBA.
Right.
Well, it's
but they did get a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But most importantly, the investigation was started 2 years before Trump was president again. You know what I mean?
That also.
It started under Biden's DOJ.
Well, let's
FBI.
Let's say you're right.
Yeah.
And that Stephen A. Smith is being disingenuous about it. Welcome to politics.
Yeah. I think Stephen A. believed it. I don't even think he was being disingenuous. I believe Stephen A. is actually an honest guy. And he makes both parties mad. And I think that's the best thing you could probably say about him.
It's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Kim's Corner CEO from South Carolina. Stephen A. Smith is a sports commentator, and it needs to be stick to the sports. To make a wild statement to say that our president is behind this situation is asinine and crazy, because I was always told if you don't have the facts, you don't have the evidence, don't make such bold statements on things, speak on things if you don't have the evidence of it. So, of course, we're talking about...
Yeah, that's not how politics works.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, I know what you're saying. That makes sense, but that's not how politics works. Well, Johnny Depp's comeback, I guess you could say, is complete now. The one thing, yes, he had been working. He had not landed a big Hollywood studio film. And now he has one. With Paramount Pictures, he will be playing Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah. Christmas movie.
A new adaptation of the film coming next Christmas, I believe, is when it's going to come out.
Yeah, they haven't started shooting yet.
Haven't started shooting, but this is, how many years has it been since the trial? 2 years?
No, I think it's longer. I think it's like 3 years.
Oh, yeah, I think it is.
I think it's like 3 years.
It had been a while. We'd seen him do some independent films. Obviously, he still had his music, but we're waiting for that moment that a Hollywood studio would say, all right, we want him in a big budget film.
I am going to actually double down on this. I think if Amber Heard comes back to America, I believe she's living in Spain, but if Amber came back, and most people say she lost this lawsuit, big, and left the country, I think if she came back, she'd get movie roles.
It has been long enough. It has been long enough.
And everybody
time.
thought at the time, oh, she's done, she could get a movie role.
Yeah, I think everyone's
in part because of it.
Probably, except the only thing I would say is, and maybe she's just decided she doesn't want it or need
but
it
if she
anymore.
did, I think she could get it. I really do.
If they call, then I think she'll come back.
People, we talk about this at TMZ all the time. You take a snapshot of somebody at the moment and you say, that's them forever. It almost never works out that way.
Almost never.
Hi, it's Carrington from Houston, Texas, and I know a lot of people probably won't want to see Johnny Depp as the Scrooge due to his personal business, but I think he was made for this role. I think that it will be very disturbing and will give us all the goth that we need, especially for a Christmas movie. I hope him much success. I'll be watching.
I think a lot of people will. He's a great actor. I mean, he just is. And I think that's history. I think it's history.
We'll find out.
Coming up.
Well, HGTV fans know Eileen and Ray Jimenez from the show Divided by Design. A just horrific thing that happened to them when they went on vacation. They found a pet sitter for their 12-year-old Shih Tzu named Aria. When they came back, they say the pet sitter told them Aria died peacefully while sleeping.
There's a lot
more that happened here.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
BB Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too.
Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at. Well, HGTV fans know Eileen and Ray Jimenez from the show Divided by Design, but now the rest of the country if you don't watch HGTV, are getting to know them because of a just horrific thing that happened to them when they went on vacation. They went out of town. They live in Miami. They went out of town for just a couple of days, and they went through a company called Rover.com to find a pet sitter. And they found a pet sitter for their 12-year-old Shih Tzu named Aria. Again, they were gone just 2 days. When they came back, they say the pet sitter told them Aria died peacefully while sleeping. Now,
there is a lot
there's a lot more that
to this
happened
story.
here because that's not what happened
At all.
And they are joining us right now. Eileen and Ray Jimenez, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hi, thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
So why don't you walk us through, you get this news from the sitter. You uncovered a lot here, and lies and betrayal. So why don't you say what you did once you got that news that your dog had died peacefully?
So we knew there was some sort of foul play because we felt it was very strange to get home and have somebody hand us the ashes of our dog without any prior issues. We were like, okay, maybe she did pass away of a heart attack, but she was a relatively healthy dog. It wasn't until we got in contact out of curiosity from the cremation center that we found out actually the condition that Aria came in. So we were told by the cremation center that Aria arrived in a blanket with her skin detached from her skull and an eye bulging out. And when she asked the person who brought in the dog, which happens to be the sitter's boyfriend, he told her that she had been attacked by a larger dog. And ultimately, this is what led to us veering out and finding out really the web of lies of what had happened. The person came into our house when we got back from town. She was crying hysterically, sobbing, saying how Aria died in her arms, how she woke up at 4 a.m. and Aria had been sleeping fine. Then she woke up at 6 and wanted to take the dogs for a walk, and Aria was unresponsive. She had her tongue sticking out, allegedly with, it being bit. She called a friend of hers who's a vet. The vet came into her house and told her that Aria apparently died in her sleep out of a heart attack. She gave us a contact of a person named Nicole that was the vet, which later on she told us, no, she's a vet student. When we asked why a death certificate was not presented, she told us it was a student. And this person named Nicole also collaborated on the story of how Aria died peacefully, how she had a heart attack in her sleep, how it's normal, a dog of that age of 12 years old. And ultimately, all of this was fabricated. Now, the cherry on the icing was after we found out what happened with Aria and really learned the condition that she came in due to the cremation center, we started doing our own research, somehow found Barbara Paz's Instagram profile and found out that she was actually in Las Vegas the whole entire time that she was supposed to be sitting our dog in a jiu-jitsu competition because she teaches jiu-jitsu to children.
I mean, the obvious thing is, why would you immediately have the dog cremated if you're on a 2-day trip? I get why your antenna went up. I guess the question is, what recourse do you really have at this point?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we want her to come forward and be accountable. And we want Rover to step up and do a better job.
Yeah.
I mean, they should be checking in daily.
Has Rover said anything to you about their contact with her?
They offered their condolences. They said that they did an investigation and obviously they have removed her from the platform, and they offered us a whopping $1,000 for the inconvenience.
If you went to small claims court, you'd probably get less, but clearly Rover didn't do its job in terms of vetting. Did you say they removed her from their service?
Platform, yeah.
Yes, they did. They say that they do thorough background checks because when we started questioning her about what happened, I guess she started getting suspicious and she said, hey, please don't report me to Rover because I may get deported, which that raised a red flag. And I asked Rover, are you guys vetting these people? And they're like, yes, we do background checks, but we can't confirm the status or not status of legal status. How is it possible that Rover is a multi-million-dollar company and they have no check-in system to say, hey, are the sitters really taking care of these dogs? Are the owners aware of where their dogs are? Like, it's very easy. We live in a world where technology is very advanced, and they're capable of taking a little bit of money and applying it to their system to ensure, because this is a case now, but because of this, we have found out of thousands of other cases of people who lost their dogs have put up for sale, dogs have been killed.
Injured.
injured while in the care of a rover sitter.
Would it be worth it to you to take her and or Rover to small claims court just to have a judge say you were right to get that accountability?
I mean, at this point, I want accountability on her part and Rover, but I care more about change. I want to see the laws change where dogs are not property anymore in Florida.
Right.
You know, where like as you guys know, if you guys have pets, you know that this is family, where laws can change. And I want Rover to come forward and say, yeah, this is atrocious. These are the steps we are taking forward to make sure this never happens
There
again.
should be some type of legal consequence if this were to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so
I mean, look,
that's what we're trying.
I will say one thing, because this, I agree with you. I mean, I've felt these laws, it's all over the country where dogs are considered property. But the real thing is, did you go to the licensing agency for Rover? I would suggest you do that and go there and file a complaint and say, you know, sometimes they will take these complaints and frankly, especially if they're public, they will take them seriously. So you should look at who licenses Rover, and I would put some pressure on that.
Absolutely. And that's what we're taking the steps now. Our first step was really getting it out there. We've had this information for a very long time. We filed the police report. We followed up with the police department to try to file an investigation on them also, because ultimately, you know, Barbara and Daniel are the people who did this to my dog, and they have to be held accountable. I just don't understand how these people can just move on with their life as if nothing happened. She continued posting as she was in the beach and enjoying her life while we were mourning the loss of our 12-year-old dog. And then parallel to that is Rover being held accountable. And that's why we're also speaking here, because at some point something needs to change. And it's very unfortunate that it takes a situation like this for change to happen. And at least we are committed to taking this to the extent as possible that we can.
Well, you're being heard.
Yes, you're absolutely
Thank
being
you.
heard. And we want to hear more about how this turns out. So we will be in touch. But thank you so much for sharing this. And I hope you get the change you're looking for.
Absolutely. Amen. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys.
We contacted Rover, by the way, and they said that they have done a thorough investigation and they promise that they will cooperate with any other investigation done by authorities.
Coming up.
Today is a very important date, the deadline that has to do with the government shutdown.
So what I have proposed, set a deadline and say, out with their asses, all of them, OWTA,
out of here.
If they can't reach an agreement, bring in a brand new group that can.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. Today is a very important date. Today is the deadline. The deadline that has to do with the government shutdown, a deadline that you set.
Yes.
We are now, this is officially the second longest government shutdown that we have ever been under. And earlier this week, you proposed.
So let me explain. So, you know, we have watched Democrats blaming Republicans, Republicans blaming Democrats. But the reality for me
for more than 3 weeks now.
The reality for me is that the core job of Congress is to get along, compromise, and function. And, you know, enough blame at this point. And that you're never going to solve this problem by finger pointing. So what I have proposed, and by the way, we're bringing in a Congresswoman who I personally just love and have known for decades. So no offense to this concept, but my feeling is set a deadline and say, out with their asses, all of them, OWTA,
out of here.
If they can't reach an agreement, bring in a brand new group that can.
To be very clear, you are saying
everybody,
all of them.
Everybody.
Everybody has to go.
And then either they're going to find religion and get together, or we will replace them and say, for 200 plus years, Congress has been able to keep the government open, to function. That's a core job, and we demand that of people.
So, without further delay, joining us now to talk about the OWTA movement is Congresswoman Maxine Waters, who has been in Congress for, well, Congresswoman, what,
A long
30,
time.
30 something years?
Long time.
And
Long
we have
time.
enjoyed talking to you over the years. So welcome back to TMZ Live.
Well, thank you, and I'm delighted to be here. And I want very much to be here because I do think that this kind of discussion must take place. But here's what you've got to understand: the reality of what we're up against. Now, I know you may even disagree with this, but my party, the Democrats, led by Hakeem Jeffries, have said we're prepared to meet anytime, any place, anywhere. We're prepared to negotiate. We want to open up this government. We don't like the shutdown. We want to open it up. You know what the real problem is? The real problem is the President of the United States controls Republicans. It's the Republican Party. It is a Trump party now. He won't let them. He will not let them negotiate.
And I hear you on that level. On the other side, they're saying you could pass a resolution to keep the government open temporarily while you negotiate. So I'm not saying who's right, because the finger pointing has been going on for a long time. But at a point, people don't care who's responsible. Both groups can't work together. So I happen to love you, Congresswoman, but what I'm saying is vote against, primary every member of Congress and bring in people and let them know that our baseline is get along, keep the government open, and if you can't, we'll get rid of you too.
Well, you're missing something. You talk about passing a resolution. It takes a majority to do that. Democrats are not in the majority. Republicans are in the majority. We can't pass a darn thing. They're under the guidance and leadership of the president. They're doing what they're told. We would be happy to work with them, to work something out, to meet with them. We want to open up this government. We are happy to be able to say, tell us where you want to meet. Tell us where can we talk? Get me on the phone. Do anything. We want to do it. And I want to tell you, if you want to place some blame on all of us, you may do that, but you better not overlook the President of the United States is in charge. He owns his party.
What about a CR? Keeping the government open temporarily, which the other side has said, while you negotiate all the other issues with healthcare and whatnot.
Well, why don't they get together with us and let's talk about it? Let's try to negotiate. My leadership is being very responsible. But if you can't negotiate, if you can't talk with anybody, if they won't meet with you, how do you do it?
So, Congresswoman, let's just say, because this is where we are now, 20-something, 24, 25 days into this,
yes,
and there isn't any movement. If you were to spread the word among your colleagues there on the Hill, Republican and Democrat, that we're all getting voted out, or we're all going to be primaried in the next election, and there's a chance we're all going out, because that's what this movement is about, is to say that we're not, since you guys can't figure it out, we're not going to play the blame game. We're just going to, everyone is going to be primaried, every single member of Congress. If you were to spread that word, do you think that might get through to anybody to say, we've got to work this out?
Well, no. Unfortunately, and when you say you, I certainly hope you're not talking about me, because certainly the Republicans do not, work with me in any way at this point. And when you say you, you're doing it. You're doing it now. I mean, a lot of people are listening to you. Millions are listening to you, and you're saying it. So let's see what's going to happen, whether or not that will have any impact on what you're thinking. Keep saying it. And I'm sure that we will keep saying to them, we'll meet, we're willing to talk with you, we're willing to negotiate, we want to see you, so let's see what they will do.
One other question real quick. Steve Bannon came out and said that there is a plan so that Donald Trump will remain president after this term expires. Do you think he's just gaslighting, or do you think they're really going to try it?
Well, let me just tell you, based on what we have seen with this president, everything that he's doing, he has the audacity to defy the Constitution, our democracy. He has no respect. He thinks that, the president has executive orders. The president can do whatever he wants to do, including tear down the White House, give about $40 billion to Argentina in the middle of people not knowing whether they're going to get a paycheck or not. And so if Steve Bannon said it, they'll try anything. They will try to do anything. They have no respect for this country, for the Constitution, and again, for democracy. Yeah, they'll try. They'll try.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Congresswoman. I hope you guys work it out, because if not,
OWTA.
OWTA.
Well, you guys keep talking. Maybe you can have some influence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming up.
The cast of Outer Banks still at work after that blow-up where the director, Jonas Pat, got into some altercation with a PA and grabbed her. Netflix, they have not said anything about this. What's interesting to me is that Jonas is still there.
Be right back.
The cast of Outer Banks still at work after that blow-up that happened earlier this week. We told you they are shooting their final season over in Croatia, and that there was this moment where the director and co-creator Jonas Pat got into some altercation with a PA and grabbed her.
And shook her and screamed at her, and Chase Stokes and Madeline Klein had to intervene and separate them.
Yet, they are still at work, and we were told, by the way, that after that incident, it was high tension on set because people were wondering why Jonas had done this, and outraged that he had done it. But as they say, the show must go on. And it is going on. What's interesting is Netflix is the producer and obviously distributor of the show. They have not said anything about this, and I would imagine that there is certainly some sort of HR investigation going on.
For sure.
And in the interim, at least, we're told that
there's a lot of money on the line right now.
But Jonas is still, what's interesting to me is that Jonas is still
yeah,
there.
So we're being told from sources that he's still on set. The only difference from one of the sources we spoke to is he was a little quieter yesterday on set. But as far as what we're being told, the cast and crew have not been addressed on this situation at all, which is weird. I just think in today's day and age, so we're being told obviously that this incident happened. It's crazy to me that A, Netflix hasn't at least released a statement. I understand why Jonas wouldn't say anything, but B, why he wouldn't be taken off set while they investigate. Doesn't it seem odd to you?
Typically what we hear is that the parent company would say, we're investigating it and, we'll take appropriate measures.
Correct.
They haven't even said that.
They haven't said anything, and they've given everyone no comment. So to me, it's just a weird situation.
Right.
But in
and
today's
every
day
single
and age,
day is money.
if someone in his power dynamic put his hands on a PA, that's a big deal.
Is the PA still there? Do we know?
That we don't know. That we do not know.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly an HR investigation.
Correct.
But the silence is interesting.
Hey, I'm Dwight from Brooklyn, and I think this is just what old Hollywood enjoyed doing. Like back in the day, this was normal. This is what people did, especially men, and it was allowed to happen. Thankfully, there's new protections and laws in place that protect people that work in the industry, but I feel like a lot of people still want to operate in this way. I think it's wrong, but this is what people want Hollywood to be because that's what it was.
Well, Jonas is young, though. I mean, he's relatively young, it seems. So
we will see. Again, we don't know his side of this. Not to say that there was anything that would justify putting his hands on this PA, but still another part of the story we need to hear.
Coming up.
Well, Jon Bon Jovi has announced that he's getting the band back together for a tour next year, but that band, Bon Jovi, will not include his longtime collaborator, Richie Sambora.
How can you do that?
Be right back.
Well, Jon Bon Jovi has announced that he's getting the band back together for a tour next year, but that band, Bon Jovi, will not include his longtime collaborator, Richie Sambora.
How can you do that?
Well, look, the reality is that Bon Jovi, the band, has gone on tour probably a couple of times since Richie Sambora left, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
However, there were signs that the reason people thought that this was it, they were really going to come back together.
The ice was thawing.
There was a Hulu documentary about John Bon Jovi, and Richie participated in it. They have since then met a couple of times, but and so people thought there was a thawing.
Yeah.
But we are told not to. Well, the thawing, we're told, has happened, but not enough that they're going to actually get back on tour together.
When Oasis came back together and did it, you would think they would.
Which is what makes me think this is...
This was just wishful thinking on fans' part. Like you said, they've personally kind of thawed their relationship. Professionally, Richie Sambora doesn't want to do this anymore.
Why?
He's tired of it. He just wants to live his life. I don't know. Ask him.
Although, just a guess, and I don't know this, but it's got to be about money, right? It's got to be about money because Richie co-wrote a lot of those songs.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and I'm from Sayreville, New Jersey, ironically, the hometown of Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
And it's that they're not going to share the same stage, but at least they do seem to be on good terms, given they did see the Hulu doc together. If you tell my mom that they're not going to share the same stage, she'd be so upset and devastated.
To me, I don't know, Wanted Dead or Alive without Richie Sambora is not the same song. They actually shouldn't do it without him.
I'm disappointed. I really am. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Hi, I'm Tiffany from Atlanta, Georgia. I feel like it's actually a good idea to start this movement, especially because of everything going on in the world. I feel like if we come together, we can definitely make a change because of the government shutdown.
Let's talk about OWTA.
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 OWTA. Sing it loud and sing it proud. One more.
You don't get to take that.
Adriana from New York. I'll be talking about Kim K. I'm so happy that Kim is following in her dad's footsteps, but I feel like we've been hearing about her almost passing the bar for about 10 years now. So I really hope that she just passes for her sake, and I hope that she does pivot into a career in the law. I just feel like someone with her money, resources, and power can actually make a really big difference in someone's life.
No, but she says she wants to be a trial lawyer, which is interesting. And, you know, she said in 10 years, she could do that.
Coming up.
Sir Paul McCartney is out on the road doing a U.S. tour, and he is taking some time to stop and smell the roses.
Or to quote Tina Turner, he is rolling on the river.
Be right back.
Sir Paul McCartney is out on the road doing a U.S. tour, and he is taking some time to stop and smell the roses.
Or to quote Tina Turner, he is rolling on the river.
Well, here we are in Tulsa, right by the Arkansas River, which is a very big, groovy one. There it goes, look at that. And we got the usual graffiti, rocking away. A little butterfly, hi there.
Good for him that he's taking time.
I grew up with the Beatles, and in my lifetime, he is just one of the most brilliant people. He is such an amazing artist. He's so bigger than life to me. I just cannot tell you what I think of Paul McCartney.
I think you just did.
I think he's brilliant. Have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday.